Well, happy Monday evening to everyone. Great to be with you guys as always. Thanks for that kind introduction. So I'm going to dive right in. And most weeks when we're doing this, we're focusing on specific skills of what you need to do to be a successful network marketer. Tonight, I want to take a bit of a delve into more of the personal development side of things. Because, we're coming up into a season where a lot of people are going to be setting goals. A lot of people are going to go into making New Year's resolutions. A lot of you are already in holiday mode. And, what happens normally is people, they kind of like, well, this year wasn't everything I wanted to be, but next year is going to be amazing. And we have that feeling of starting over again. We have that optimism, and then we set goals. And the sad truth is the vast majority of people who set goals, or the vast majority of the goals they set, never get achieved. And it's for a wide variety of reasons. So for me, setting a goal, I'm not going to say it means nothing, because it's better than not having a goal. At least you're striving towards something, you're moving towards something. And yes, you can shoot for the moon and land amongst the stars, but I'd rather hit the moon. Whatever it is that I'm shooting for, I want to be able to achieve it. I want to reach my goals. So when we do our journey program, and again, that's coming up, and I'm not going to do a big presentation on journey right now, but I just want you to understand it starts off night one, and we get rid of a lot of garbage. Think of a hard drive of a computer, or if your phone, if the storage is used up. How many times have you seen someone, they want to take a photo, but it's all jammed up, so they have to delete a bunch of photos, and then they free up some space to take more photos. Well, photos are one thing, but how about the gray matter in your brain? And we can only absorb so much information. So the first night, we take a bunch of crap that's been in your life, in your minds, weighing on your emotions for a lot of you, and we just get rid of it. We flush it. We delete it. We just get rid of it. We jettison it. It's not around anymore. And we clean up a lot of room on your hard drive, and then we spend day 2, day 3, and the majority of day 4 adding amazing information, things that many of you have never heard before, exercises you go to, you grow, you learn, you become much more aware, it's bonding, it's friendship, it's fun. But the very, very, very last thing we do at Journey is calling it a goal-setting process isn't even fair, but that's what it is. It lasts somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 hours, and what we're really doing is we're programming your unconscious mind with what you want to have in your life over the course of the next 25 years. And it's not just financial. Everything from your personal life to your physical fitness, to your spiritual life, to your family, anything and everything you could imagine, you get to create a blueprint. If I was a builder and you wanted me to build your ideal dream home, you've got an idea in your brain of what your dream home is, but the only way a builder can build it is they have to have a blueprint. Well, we're visual. We're all very visual, so we're going to help you create a blueprint so your brain understands exactly what you want, and then we program it into your unconscious mind. Now, the reason I'm telling all of you this is because during that process, when we leave Journey, in order for all this to come to fruition, we're going to use something very much to our benefit called the law of attraction. Have you heard of the law of attraction? I'm sure many have heard of the law of attraction. Now, sometimes people are like, oh, that's one of those new age things. No, it's not. It's really not. Maybe some people who do new age trainings spin it that way, but it's not new age. It's been around for 100,000 years. Not 100,000 years. It's been around a long time. When I say the law of gravity is not the theory of gravity, right? Like, again, I don't want to get too controversial, but you have the theory of evolution. It's not the law of evolution. So this is a law. You have the law of gravity. Now, let's say you don't believe in the law of gravity. You're like, that's a bunch of crap. I don't think any adult would say that, but let's say you just are really dumb and you don't believe in the law of gravity, and then you take a step off the first story, window of your house. Well, you're going to fall. I don't care if you believe in it or not. It's going to take effect whether you believe in it or not. So the same thing with the law of attraction. Now, the law of attraction comes from a book, Most People's Awareness in this day and age. 20 some odd years ago, they did a movie called The Secret, which was based on the book called The Secret. Bob Proctor, God rest his soul, and a lot of other dynamic teachers and trainers, John Assaraf, a lot of really dynamic teachers and trainers were in that movie and taught in that book. It was Rhonda Byrne is the one who put it all together. And if you don't know anything about it, just a really quick lesson here. So imagine everything in the world is made up of energy. So this microphone is made of energy. The tree in your backyard is made up of energy. A cinder block is made up of energy. Everything is made of energy. So most things, because they're inanimate objects, have the same vibration all the time. Things either vibrate slow because they're solid, or they vibrate fast if they're more liquid. Okay, so you vibrate slow or fast. You vibrate high or low. Well, the bottom line is humans also have vibrations. Humans are also made up of energy. The difference is, unlike an inanimate, can't say that 3 times fast. Unlike an inanimate object, a human being, we go up, we go down, we go up, we go down. Why would our vibrations go up, down, up, down, up, down? Because they're based on our thoughts and our emotions. So really, and someone told me this a long, long time ago, if you don't control your thoughts and emotions are going to control you. So let me go back to the law of attraction for a moment. I want to make sure you really understand what I'm saying. So let's just say you have negative thoughts. Let's say you have fear thoughts or doubt thoughts or anxiety thoughts, jealousy thoughts, hatred thoughts. Any of those thoughts have you vibrate very, very low. Okay, so what the law of attraction is basically saying is we are like a really powerful, extraordinarily powerful magnet. So have you ever seen a movie or something, or maybe been in a science lab, and something just gets sucked to the magnet? Like you walk in the room and it comes off your body and boom, it goes to the magnet. Think about we're that powerful, and what we're doing is we're attracting people and situations to us that have the same level of vibration. So if you're negative, you're attracting negative. Now, on the other hand, if you're optimistic, excited, if you're in a state of gratitude and joy, then you're vibrating much, much higher. And the concept is we're attracting things to us that vibrate the same. We're attracting people that vibrate the same. So the law of attraction means you need to control your thoughts. Now, guys, go ahead and read some books on this. We have tens of thousands, I believe over 100,000, maybe it's millions of thoughts a day. I apologize. I haven't read up on this lately. We have a lot of thoughts during a day. However, many of them are in the same general field, are recurring thoughts. So most people have never done this before. You've never thought about what you think about. But what are your dominant thoughts? You know, maybe you take a moment and write that down. So in other words, if you're worried your car is going to get repossessed and you think about that all day, all day, all day, all day, here's another one I was taught a long time ago. Whatever you fear most in your life comes true. Now, I remember when I first heard that, and I heard that from my mentor, I had the most respect for of anyone I probably ever met in my life. But when he said, whatever you fear most comes true, I kind of didn't agree with it. I didn't really even understand it. That was before I ever heard about the law of attraction. Now I understand whatever you fear most comes true. Whatever you focus on expands. So if you are afraid you're going to get audited by the IRS, and that's all you think about is, I'm afraid I'm going to have issues with the IRS, that you think about it, you think it year after year after year, eventually it's going to happen. If you're afraid your significant other is going to leave you, they'll find someone instead of you, and you think about it and obsess about it over and over and over again, you're going to actually create that in your life. So whatever you fear most, you actually manifest it and create it in your life. Now, you don't have to believe me, but I'm telling you, if you don't stop having the negative thoughts, if you're afraid you're going to get sick and you're always worried and fearful you're going to get sick, you're wrong. Now, how about let's flip it the other way? You're always dreaming about how you're going to be really, really wealthy. You're dreaming about being on your yacht. You're daydreaming about being on your private plane. You're thinking about speaking to an audience with 20 or 30,000 people and whatever those thoughts might be. And that's what you think about over and over and over and over and over and over again. If you don't think that really works, then why does every professional golfer turn and watch a golf tournament this weekend, and every professional golfer stands there before they do anything, they stand there and they just stare ahead. Now, what are they doing staring ahead? They're visualizing in their mind's eye a perfect shot. Exactly the way the ball is going to go. Is it going to go left to right, right to left, where it's going to land, all that stuff. Now, does that guarantee that that's exactly where the ball is going to go? No, but does it give it a greater probability that that's what's going to happen? The answer is definitely yes, because it's not just golfers. Virtually every professional athlete in this world, in this day and age, has either the team has a headset coach or a mind coach, or a lot of the best players have their own individual ones, and they're envisioning the ball going in. They're envisioning the last 5 seconds of the game in the NBA Finals and taking the winning shot and the ball swishing through the net and the crowd going right. They're creating that. The first chapter of Think and Grow Rich, by the way, the book is called Think and Grow Rich. Not work your ass off and grow rich. It's called Think and Grow Rich. So the very first chapter in the book talks about thoughts are things. Henry Ford thought about having a V8 engine. He brought his engineers in, the really, really smart guys who went to school, and Henry Ford didn't even graduate grade school. So by classic standards, he was dumb, but he envisioned a V8 engine. He brought his engineers in. They told him it was impossible. So he fired his engineers and got other ones. They told him it was impossible. He kept firing people until someone said, okay, we can do it. They heard his vision and they lived up to his vision. By the way, Steve Jobs did the same thing. He had the mouse. He wanted the mouse to be able to go all over a screen. Imagine if your mouse couldn't go all over the screen. And at one point, his brilliant engineers, who were the best in the world at that time, told him it was impossible, and he did the same thing Henry Ford did. He just got other people. So visionaries envision what's going to happen in the future, and then they just keep, manifesting it, if you will. Now, let me pause for a minute. Let me talk about the only downside in my mind to the whole concept of law of attraction. I'm not going to say who it was, but there's someone I know and have met and worked with before who was part of that project, The Secret. And they said, man, if I meet one more person who tells me they're going to manifest their mansion or they're going to manifest their ideal, husband or whatever, but they don't get off their ass, I think I'm going to slap someone. So thoughts determine what we want. Thoughts are very important. Thoughts turn into things, but only if you take action. So again, when we do the program at Journey, we don't just write down the goal. We don't just teach you how to program it into your unconscious mind. I'm going to talk about conscious mind in a moment, and that's a big part. The unconscious mind, is a massive part of the law of attraction. But more so, sorry, I lost my train of thought for 1 second. So, oh my gosh, this happens to me once in a while. I got 16 thoughts going on at one time. So if you're, I'll come back to it. Okay, so you're programming things, your unconscious mind. I got it. But you also have to have a plan of action. So if all you have is this, I'm going to get a jet, that's nowhere near the same as saying, okay, what do I need to do to get a jet? A jet costs this much money. How am I going to make that much money? Well, based on the kind of business I'm in, I'm going to have to do X, Y, and Z to earn this much. Or maybe if it's a really big goal like buying a jet, not only do you have to make X amount of dollars, but then you have a certain investment you're going to put in to earn the extra money, whatever the case might be, but you have to have a plan of action. Now, having a goal is one thing. Having a plan of action is another thing, which makes it even better. But if you have a goal and a plan of action and you don't do anything and you just sit there and manifest and chant all day long, nothing is going to happen. So you need a goal, you need a plan of action, and then you need to execute the plan of action. Again, I say this all the time. When people say to me, you're a motivational speaker, it drives me crazy. I was working with a young man named Alex. I know if I mention his last name, a lot of you guys would know him. One of the top income earners in the network marketing industry in the last 10 years, one of the probably of all time. And we were doing an event together and we took a break and we both were teaching a bunch of stuff and I guess inspiring people. And the one guy came up to and says, you guys are both such great motivational speakers. And, we were nice about it and thanked him. And when he walked away, we both kind of looked at each other at the same time and almost said the exact same thing. It's like, I hate it when people say I'm a motivational speaker. Here's the thing. Motivation doesn't last. If you get on and you watch this and you're motivated, praise God. That's great. That is a bonus. That is the cherry on top. My goal is to get you into action. Okay, motivation goes away. Discipline doesn't go away. You've been here for a lot of Mondays. You've heard me talk about Nick Saban. Nick Saban's all about discipline, discipline, discipline. How is it defined? Doing what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it, the way you're supposed to do it, and here's the big one, whether you feel like it or not. So, do you know what you're supposed to do? You know what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to contact people. Doing what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it, the way you're supposed to do it. You can't just go through the motions. You can't just mail it in. You can't just do a half-assed presentation. Do it the way it's supposed to be done, whether you feel like it or not. People who are in great shape are not better athletes than you. They just go to the gym whether they feel like it or not. People who are in great shape are not better metabolisms than you. They just eat the right way whether they feel like it or not. So the question really boils down to, how bad do you want it? Because if you want it, then you're going to go through these steps. And again, guys, I can't wait for those of you who have a bunch of people already signed up for Journey. So you're going to be able to get rid of all that garbage on the first day. Then you're going to go through days 2, 3, and half of day 4, building you up, filling you up. And then when you're in that incredibly elevated state of mind, then we set your goals. Now, this is why setting goals and the law of attraction work so well, because you have your conscious mind and you have your unconscious mind. The vast majority of what we do is driven by our unconscious mind. That's why people who say, I don't want to smoke anymore, have a hard time stopping. I don't want to drink anymore, have a hard time stopping that. I don't want to overeat anymore. Because with our conscious mind, it's not that you don't want to do it, but just think about your unconscious mind being at least 100 times more powerful than your conscious mind. So in other words, you want to stop eating the bad way, but you sit down and before you even know it, you looked at the menu, you ordered something without thinking, because that's just what you normally do. I normally come to this place, this is what I normally order. And then after you put your order in, you're like, damn, I should have ordered something completely different than that. So you've got to be focused on it. You have to be intentional. I'm not saying you cannot stop drinking or stop smoking. I'm not saying you can't change your habit and become much more productive. I'm not saying you can't go to the gym even though your unconscious habit is not to go there. I'm saying you have to be conscious about it. You have to be intentional about it. The real trick here, and this is, again, I like to throw around a lot of books. I know some of you guys, a lot of you hear the name, you don't listen, or you listen, but you don't do anything about it. Other people message me all the time, hey, I read that book. Oh my gosh, it's incredible. So one of those books is The Greatest Salesman in the World by a guy named Og Mandino. Now, we happen to be in sales, so if you learn how to sell, that's a good thing. But even if you have nothing to do with sales, the book, The Greatest Salesman in the World, helps someone who reads it become a great salesman because they develop great habits. The book is about how to change your current habits, great habits. So therefore, it's not only good for sales, it's good for sales. It was a smart title to have because a lot of salespeople went and read the book. But I'm telling you, I've given that book to virtually anyone who I care about, who I want to have success. So many of my coaching clients, it's one of the first books I have them read because it's about creating good habits. Now, if you create good habits and now unconsciously, without you thinking about it, you're doing the right thing, that's how life becomes unbelievable. That's how life becomes phenomenal. But it's just in all different ways. Remember, your thoughts and your emotions determine your level of how you're vibrating. Your self-talk has a lot to do with this. So again, do you know what self-talk is? I'm sure a lot of you do, but if someone else is talking to you, you know that. But how about the dialogue you have going in your head all day long? And here's what's crazy. If someone came up to you and said, man, you're fat, you're ugly, you're stupid, you're a moron, you'd be going, wait, man, you can't talk to me like that, or you wouldn't want to hang out with them. But what if you talk to you like that? What if you were saying stuff like, man, you never done this before, you always screw this up, you're such a loser, you're so lazy, you're so this, you're so that. I'm just telling you, in the Bible it says the life and death are in the power of the tongue. So saying it out loud makes it even worse, but even if you're just saying it in your head and you're constantly putting yourself down and you're always saying these negative things in your head, that affects your vibration. So again, you have to be intentional about things. So again, one of the things I learned years ago, I didn't know anything about self-talk. So then I learned about affirmations. It's another thing that we'll teach you when you come to Journey, by the way. So I write down my affirmations. These are the things I say about myself. I'm unstoppable. I will multiply everything I do. I'm a winner. I'm a warrior. And I say that, and I say it, 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 and I say it. Because years ago, I've told this 1,000 times. You probably heard me say this here on Monday nights if you've been jumping in. It's like I used to, you've all seen the image of the kitten who looks in the mirror, or the puddle sees back the reflection of a lion. I was the opposite. I was a lion who saw the reflection of a kitten. And so are a lot of people. A lot of the reason why you have a terrible self-image is your self-talk. The way you talk to yourself, it affects your mood. So again, one of my favorite expressions, and again, I'm going to be short to the point and finish this up nice and quick tonight because I want you to get back to banging the phones and making money and doing your business. But this is some powerful stuff. And again, guys, everyone on your team needs to hear this kind of stuff. You may not necessarily understand the law of attraction, but man, if you can understand it and start using it in your favor, it is such a game changer. And here's the thing, it's a law. And it either, and this is kind of how I want to finish up, it either works for you or against you. So my mentor had all these amazing one-liners, and I've said many of them over the years, and I've heard many other ones from other great trainers. I've made up a few of my own for sure, but the one that sticks out to me more than anything, that it just was my favorite for some reason, is the more money you make, the more money you make. And you think about it, so when you're not making any money, you're frustrated, you're struggling, you can't seem to get things going. But when you start making money, you have this confidence. Now, I don't know if you know this, but I think it was UCLA did a study many, many years ago and said only 7% of our communication with each other are the actual words that we say to each other. Of about 50-something% is your appearance, and then the other 30-something% is the way in which you say things. And if you are lacking confidence, the way in which you say things is not going to be very good at all. So it's a matter of your self-talk and what you think and what you believe. But when you start making money, I know money isn't everything, and I know money can't buy happiness, but it does buy confidence, and it does buy swagger. So now all of a sudden, you're making more money, so you're feeling more confident, and now more people want to sign up with you. More people want to buy your product. All of a sudden, instead of you not having anyone to sign up, people are reaching out and sending you a private message online. The more money you make, the more money you make, and that's because the law of attraction, because your vibration has changed where you're up here and you're attracting people and situations to you that vibrate in a high level. That's the great news. You ready for the bad news? The less money you make, the less money you make. It works one way or the other. So if you're not making money and you're frustrated and you're disappointed and you're upset with yourself and all that kind of good stuff, and those are the thoughts running through your head, then it gets worse and worse, and you attract even worse people, and you make even less money. So it's going to go one way or the other. So which way do you want it to be? Do you want it to be the less money you make, the less money you make, or the more money you make, the more money you make? So you've got to do the hard work, and you've got to control your thoughts and control your emotions. People go, Mark, can you give me 3 bullet points on how to control my thoughts? And I'm like, no. What you need to do is be aware of your thoughts. And your self-talk. What are you saying to yourself? What is your dominant thought? What are you obsessing about? Or how are you feeling? If you're always frustrated, if you're always disappointed, if you're always depressed, that means you're having negative thoughts. That means you're vibrating low. That means you're drawing the wrong situation and people in your life. So yes, is it that crazy? Have a positive attitude. If you haven't read the book, The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale, go and read it. Whatever you need to do, reread Think and Grow Rich. Thoughts turn into things. Control your thoughts and emotions. Control your vibration. And then the more money you make, the more money you make. I'm telling you, when you write down these 12 goals at the end of Journey in the right environment, after we built you up for a whole week, and then we teach you how to program that into your unconscious mind, and you come out of that event and you do the follow-up with it, my goodness, guys, I wish I could right now get a bunch of, we put them on blue cards, blue gold cards. I have had so many people over the years, thousands of these blue gold cards have been sent to me. And you know, the one that just popped into my head, there was a guy who was at the event. He was doing a business part-time. He really wanted to be a model. He was like 20 years old. And his thing was, his blue card was, I want to be on a billboard in Times Square in New York. And that was, for this guy, as far-fetched is you being, you know, whatever, playing alongside Luka Doncic in the NBA. It was so preposterous to him. Fast forward, the guy reached out to me, actually drove to see me, and he showed me a photo of his billboard in Times Square, and it happened in less than 12 months. When you program your unconscious mind in the right way, and you get the law of attraction working in your favor, it is unbelievable the kind of things that can happen. So again, that's just a little bit for you tonight about controlling your thoughts and emotions. Hopefully now you understand $1,000, it's not even $1,000. We have a discounted price, but that kind of money to come to a program that'll change the complete direction of your life. And this is one itty bitty thing we teach you out of 4 full days and nights. I mean, really, if you want to transform your life, this is the place you want to be. If you can't go there, then just come back again next Monday, and we'll always be here giving you free information. But for those of you who are serious about this and you really want to have a massive transformation in your life, then for heaven's sake, stop being cheap with yourself and sign up for Journey. That's all I have for tonight. Thanks again for hosting the call, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next Monday.